What's going on, Weekend Hangover Nation? I'm your boy Surf, joined here always with my boy Preach. What's happening, Preach?
What is going on, crew?
What's going on, man? Today, the day after the draft, we are talking about draft losers. I'm hyped though, man, because I just got to enjoy the draft. I this is my favorite time of the year. This is like Christmas. I'm like a kid with all these new toys, and I'm just like, yes.
Exactly, because no team really loses at this point, right? Everyone's
Nobody's a
technically a
loser.
winner.
Yeah, nobody's a loser right now, except for these teams we're about to mention. Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah,
lean off. We're gonna start off with the Cardinals. Preach, what did you think about their first selection?
dumb, stupid, idiotic, any other possibility words that you could think of. Man, what were they thinking? Why? Why? I I thought they were gonna go a different way. You talked me into it. You were saying
I
it was
know,
smoke and
I know.
mirrors.
I'm
You was
sorry. I'm
like,
sorry.
they're not gonna do it.
My eight ball
I
let
was
me
like, all
down,
right, they're
man.
not gonna do it. And you decided to go with Kyle Murray. What are you going to do with Josh Rosen? If you were going to go Kyle Murray, you should have traded away Josh Rosen before the draft. What are you going to get out of him now? There's no possible way you can get a first round pick. I know I've heard people say they can hold him, keep him doing preseason, do all that kind of stuff, show him
No,
off,
not possible. Can't
and
do
get a
that.
first round pick. There's no way. If he
Yeah,
comes in during the preseason and outbeats Kyle Murray, man, what do you look like then? You'll be
There's-
fired before you even make week one.
I think Kingsbury gets fired after year one, but that's just me. But okay, so we're not
I think
we're
him
not
and
necessarily.
Kynes. I think him and Kynes both are out the door at the end of the season. By the way,
I could definitely see that. We're not hating on Kyler Murray as a player. He's got his ups, his downs. You can go in on what you don't like about Kyler Murray, but we're more or less hating on the situation that's there. We're the fact that they've handled this so interestingly because they waited until everyone else made their offseason moves. They waited until after the first day of the draft because your Skins now have a quarterback. The Giants now have a quarterback. You limited your trade.
we were
Yeah,
offering a first round. What was it? A first and a second round pick for him. Why
that was the
wouldn't you
rumors.
take that?
Yeah, that was the rumors. Maybe those rumors weren't true. So you're never too sure.
It's a possibility.
And if they turn around tomorrow and trade Rosen for a 2019 first round pick from the Dolphins, I think it will have a completely different outlook. I'm just saying this is the next day after the draft and them taking a quarterback with Rosen still on the roster. To me, they're the obvious loser of the draft. I know everybody's raving about the pick and this, that, and the other, but I don't know, man.
Uh,
I just
But
I don't know.
even though, even then, okay, Kyle Murray is a 1 year wonder. That's all he was in college. Okay,
It was a hell of
and
a
he
year.
had a great offensive line in front of him. That offense was set up for him to succeed. That's all it was, just throw touchdowns, run if you have to, be this God-given talent. That's what it was created to do in that high-powered spread offense.
This
He
is
doesn't
true.
have that in Arizona.
Lots of talent at those receiving positions as well, which again
Absolutely,
he doesn't
'cause
have at Arizona either.
I think Lamb is going to be a great receiver coming out in the next couple of years, but I'll talk about him later. But that offensive line in Arizona, terrible. And you're going to put this kid there. He's not a kid that can step up into the pocket if your offensive line is struggling. He's a kid that has to sit back because of his height and read the defense. If a team just crushes him and makes him step into the pocket, he's going to struggle. Absolutely struggle. And it's an air raid offense where he has to hold on to the ball just a little bit longer to get a guy open. I don't know about this. I I think it's a bad choice all the way around. For one, what they did with Rosen, and plus, I think Rosen is a better quarterback than everyone in this year's draft. I think Rosen, if he would have came out this year, would have been the number one pick hands down.
Yeah, yeah, and you invested a number 10 overall pick last year into him. And he had, looking at his tape, at least at UCLA, with the lack of talent he had around him, I thought he looked like Aaron Rodgers light. I personally, I thought he's very talented. And I think he's going to go on to have a really, really good NFL career. So hopefully he ends up in a good situation. And honestly, I hope the Murray thing works out too, though. I always root for these kids when they're coming in, to be honest.
I
I
did
think,
too. But didn't he play in an air raid offense in Texas Tech?
yeah, Oh, at Texas A&M. Yeah,
Texas
yeah. He
A&M.
played in a very similar offense, and he had 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and not a whole lot of good things happening. And they had some talent there. They had a bunch of NFL receivers. Reynolds plays with the Rams. Kirk plays right now with the Cardinals, who he's going back to right now.
He's going back.
Yeah. So, and they also have I can't remember his name right now. It's I'm having a brain fart. But their tight end right now was also on that team as well. So yeah, he's going to be seeing a lot of his former Texas A&M players. So hopefully that year of sitting behind Mayfield, as you saw in his Heisman campaign, hopefully he's matured since those Texas A&M days in the air raid, and hopefully him and Kingsbury work. I'm predicting right now that Kingsbury gets fired. I don't think it's going to work out at all, but that's just me.
I think there's a chance he may, if he looks bad and they give Rosen a competition side by, letting him come into camp and they go side by side. I think he may go back to baseball.
I could see that also, but I can't see any way in hell that they keep Rosen until camp. That would blow my mind, Preach. This already is blowing my mind.
Not to show up until we trade him. Hey, look, I don't want.
I can't imagine him not trading him by then though. Like if he's still on the roster, then
I thought he would have been traded by now.
I would have thought so as well. But anyways, okay, moving on to our next quote unquote loser, because we're all winners here at the Weekend Hangover, and we want to acknowledge that. But our next loser, I'd have to say, has got to be Green Bay, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Not so much for the Savage move. If that's their guy at safety, I'm perfectly cool with that. But that Gary pick at number 12.
I personally had guys above him, like my man Gardner Johnson. I thought was slightly above him. But I can't hate on the pick. The kid can play.
The kid can definitely play. He's a hell of a coverage guy.
They needed secondary help. Yeah.
Okay, so Savage. So we're both okay with the Savage move. Moving back into the first round and stuff. We're okay with that. The one that I'm concerned about, at least, is the Gary move, though. Man, that's a guy with very limited production at Michigan. He's a hell of an athlete, and on paper he looks in shorts in the t-shirt. He looks really good as a player.
He looks like an athletic freak at his size.
But it did not show up at all at Michigan, man. His stats are ugly.
And not only that, he's coming. What is he going to play in this defense? They're a 3-4 defense. I think he's too slow and too big to play that outside linebacker position. I don't think he could cover it all either if he had to. And I think he's a little too small to take on those the double linemen, the double blocks and everything in the 3-4 defense as an end.
I think that's the idea of where they're going to put him is at that end, and I think they're going to try to beef him up. But you don't know how dudes' bodies react when you put that muscle and weight on. And you saw with the Skins when you all drafted Murphy.
Like that, if you put all that onto him, like what are you going to do with that? You put all that weight onto him. Let's say he loses his athleticism. Then what has he got? Nothing. Yeah. He doesn't have great hands. He doesn't have great pass rushing moves. I'm not hating on the kid. I don't want it to sound like that. I think he would have been greater in a later on pick because there was other people there that would have fit the role better. Someone like Montez Sweat would have fit the role better. And my dude, Polite, who was falling off of people's draft board, but I believe he's a first-round talent. I believe those guys had way better time. And then Burns, I think Burns would have fit there perfectly. Instead, he went to Carolina.
I agree. So if you're trying to move Gary to that outside linebacker spot, if that's the goal, I agree with everything you're saying there. But if you want him to play end and it ends up working out there, then none of those guys could have played the 3-4 end though. None of those dudes are big enough for that.
Yeah. You're right.
But my problem with him though,
but I don't think he can either though.
I don't think he can either. I agree with that. But my problem with Gary is the numbers that he put out on the field. Even when he was in a position in Michigan to do nothing but succeed, he had 57 total tackles and he started every game since he was a freshman. He had 9.5 sacks. I'm sorry, it's just not putting enough out there, man. I don't care what you look like in shorts and a t-shirt, man.
Absolutely. I'm starting to think that some of these scouts don't pay attention to game film, and they just watch what they do in the combine or the Senior Bowl.
Okay, so our last quote unquote loser, and I put this more as a case of curious picks, I guess. This is just more of a
Yeah, because I hate to call this pick a loser because I absolutely love this kid.
yeah, it's
But
an
go
absolute.
ahead.
He's definitely talented. He's definitely talented. Where they got him is great as well. It's just a curious move in if they don't change defensive alignments, and that's Josh Allen to the Jaguars at pick number 7.
Yes. Once again, I love this fucking kid. I think he's great. I think he's very talented. If he was in a 3-4 defense, I wish he would have went to a 3-4 defensive team. I hope Jacksonville decides to go to a 3-4 team because this kid can rush and he can play coverage. He is tremendous. I wish he would have went to my Skins. I was begging. God didn't let my wish come true. Instead, he goes to Jacksonville.
Said you
And the
guys got
reason why I don't
Montez
like him-
Sweat, man. Jesus, we'll talk about that in winners next time. But anyways,
But
go
see,
ahead.
I thought Montez Sweat was a great pick for Jacksonville. I thought he would have fit perfectly with Jacksonville because he's that true end.
Yeah.
I don't see that with Allen. I think you're letting a lot of talent go from Allen because he could play such great coverage as a linebacker. I think you're letting that talent go to waste. He is
Okay,
a
there are
decent
rumors-
pass rusher.
There are rumors that they're considering moving to like a hybrid 3-4/4-3 and just keeping things moving. And having great athletes on the field is never a bad idea.
Which if they do that, which I hope they do, it would be a great pick. But as of now, we know they're a 4-3 team. I don't like it. And that's
Yeah.
the only reason why it's a loser team. Because he is exactly what they drafted a couple years ago in Dante Fowler Jr. They
Yep.
let him go because he just couldn't get the pass rush. And he's the same exact thing. If I'm not mistaken, Fowler was also bigger than Allen. And Fowler had a little more success in the pass rush. I thought he was a little more finesse and had a little more skill in the pass rush rate. I think Allen needs to learn a little bit more.
Allen's
about
got
pass rushing,
41
especially-
career sacks at Kentucky Preach.
Like I said, he's amazing. I think he could be even better. Like you can get past in college with.
I'm sorry. 31
career.
career sacks, 41 career tackles for a loss. I apologize. Corrections at the weekend hangover. Surf messing up.
Like I
again.
said, tremendous numbers, but he still can learn. Especially in the NFL level, lines are better. Schemes
Yeah,
are
definitely.
better. He's gonna have to get better also, which I think he can. Because like I said, I love this kid, but I don't like the fit. He's undersized to be a true 4-3 end.
Now we
That's
have
just the
seen
only complaint that I
small
have.
ends. We've seen Dwight Freeney and guys just succeed being a little bit smaller at that end spot.
Yes.
But again though, it's just a curious move. It's just a curious fit.
And you're letting that coverage talent go to waste. The kid can be tremendous, but you're letting that coverage talent go to waste.
Okay. Well, we shall see. We shall see if it goes to waste. It might work out, man. But again, this is a weekend hangover podcast. And Preach.
Hold on, I want to throw one more thing in.
Okay.
Which if they do go to a 3-4 defense, that defense is gonna be scary. Like,
I could see that
having
also.
him come off that edge, and those linebackers that are already there. Oh yeah.
And with that size up front, you could just slot Calais Campbell right there at a 3-4 end.
Yeah, because he played it
it's
in
gonna be nice.
Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine no matter what they do. I think that defense is still young and fast, so that always works.
Yeah.
All right, Preach. Anything else you want to add to the podcast, or can I close it up here?
I'm ready for day 2.
Nice. All right, guys. This has been another Weekend Hangover podcast. I'm your boy Surf, saying bye. Preach, you want to say anything to the crew?
See ya.
Laters, guys.